Alright, just a little disclaimer for this video. I'm making this after I did the whole commentary. I realized after making it I had a couple of, you know, I realize how controversial this may be. So if you guys, you know, are fans of Rain, like diehard fans, then, you know, that's awesome. I am too. You know, I love watching Rain videos. They're fun. But don't just dislike the video just because you're a Rain fan. I know I said some things to Rain that people might find disrespectful, and I totally understand that. So yeah, just please guys, I said I don't dislike videos, and it would be great if you guys do the same for me. Just don't mindlessly dislike. If you still disagree with me at the end of the video, just leave a comment just leave a comment at the bottom of the video and just let me know. Hopefully we don't get too many dislikes on this. Please guys, just be neutral, please. That's all I'm asking. So thank you so much and enjoy the commentary. Okay, here we go. Hey guys, what is going on? It's KoLa, not KoLa, and welcome to a fourth KoLa commentary. Yeah, I don't really make that many commentaries. I'm assuming a lot of people are here because they see the title, and sorry for the clickbait title. I learned from the best. That was so bad. No, but I'm not gonna sit here and rant about FaZe the whole time. I really do have a lot of respect for the team. I mean, as Rain told me in our DMs, you know, he was able to turn some childhood, you know, hobby, such as, you know, playing video games after school, into a lifestyle pretty much. I've been a fan of them personally for a long time. I mean, I joined the community midway through Black Ops 2's like prime. I sat there and I watched the first FaZe 5 top 20 montage on my computer, and I could not stop watching that thing. It was so crazy. I was like, alright, I want to start, you know, doing what these guys are doing. I think that's pretty much how we all started. But I think what a lot of people, you know, are starting to see is FaZe is not the same. I'm going too ham on these kids. Hold up. Another. Look how many kids are spawning back there. FaZe Clan, you know, they still come out with montages here and there, you know. I mean, they're going through a lot of change though. I mean, this whole FaZe 2.0 stuff, not off to a good start, to be completely honest with you guys. But I'm pretty excited to see new content. I'm for, you know, expanding, you know, the FaZe content. That's awesome. But I feel like a lot of this expansion is from their own personal interest, because when I watched that FaZe Rain video, the one that I made the comment on, and Rain was describing, you know, FaZe in his own terms, it's obvious that whatever he says about FaZe, he has a huge impact on it, and I feel like he's using that as a way to change the definition of FaZe to meet his personal interest. That's the best way I can describe it. Personally, I think that Rain is a good guy, but when you make a definition as vague as, you know, FaZe is a group of people that enjoy doing the same thing, like, that could be anything, like he said. Hot dog stands? What? Obviously he was joking when he said that, but yeah, I mean, under that definition, FaZe could be that. I mean, it just depends on what Rain's personal interests are. I think that whole definition he gave was because he just doesn't want to be associated with COD. To sum it all up, you know, with that whole definition of, you know, well, Rain's definition of FaZe, he did this whole, like, weird analogy with his controller. Basically, he was describing the true color of the controller, which was black, as his definition of FaZe, and pretty much everyone else who disagrees with him to have, you know, they think the controller is green, which the controller wasn't.
FaZe isn't fucking taking a controller, trying to hit a sick clip and putting music behind it. That's just something we do. That's something we still do. Yes, we don't do it as often, but it's just, it's not, that isn't FaZe. Us having fun, us doing shit together, that is what FaZe is. This controller, it's black, okay? It is black. I don't care what you say, this controller is black, right? Okay. It's green. No, dude, it's black. No, but I think it's green. That's literally what it sounds like.
So yeah, he basically said, you can't argue with me. Like, this controller's black, it's whatever, you know, FaZe is whatever I think it is. Anyone else who says anything different is wrong. Maybe he didn't mean it that extreme, but that's what I got from it. So I was a little fumed when I wrote that comment, and you guys probably saw that. You know, I mean, it's something that had to be said at that point. To reply to Rain's little controller analogy thing, I'm gonna do my own because I have an amazing controller to do this. This is the PS4 Custom Black Ops 3 controller. And notice how it has two colors, and that's gonna come into play in a couple seconds here. So, God, that's so cringy. How do you do it? So, we have the gray controller, right? I'll be Rain for a second. I think the controller's gray, right? It's gray. Of course it's gray. It's gray all over this thing. And the rest of the community who thinks that FaZe should still, you know, stick to montages and kind of their origins a little bit more. You know, we think the controller's orange. And notice how there's a lot of gray. There's a lot more gray than orange. But then Rain will say, no, it's gray. You know, this controller's gray, you know? But the community still thinks, you know, FaZe should be a little orange. We should still have some montages. And, well, definitely more than what we've been getting, right? And then Rain's just gonna say, no, it's gray. But why not just combine the two, like, in this controller? Yeah, there's a lot more gray, you have a lot more say, Rain, but, I mean, there's still a community that wants the orange montages. That's basically what I'm getting at here. Listen, when I wrote that comment, I said some things that maybe were a little too extreme, you know, calling them terrible leaders was a little, you know, crossing the line a little bit, I understand. That was just how I felt at the time. I just had to write it. I kind of wrote it thinking that I would receive some attention for it. For a controversial topic like this, I want to write this as carefully as I can. You know, I made it clear I don't dislike videos. I'm not a hater. I'm not just, you know, brainlessly saying, oh, Rain's wrong, I'm going to dislike this video because, you know, I think FaZe is this and he thinks FaZe, you know. That's not logical, obviously. Anyway, for some reason, this comment that I wrote was not like public on Rain's video. If you guys look at Rain's video, you know, it says 5,000 comments, but you only get to see like 10, I don't know. So when I saw this, I was like, okay, you know, I'll just take a screenshot of what I can and I'll just upload it to Twitter, see what people think of it. But, you know, I was hoping there weren't too many fanboys, I guess you could say, that were gonna see this thing. So, okay, I have 243 followers. Alright, maybe I'll just get like a little more than normal, maybe like 10 retweets for something like this, because the most retweets I have is 20. And everything else just has like 2. Like, I'm a nobody on Twitter, right? When this thing got to 5 retweets fairly quickly, I was like, alright, you know, that's cool. You know, people are seeing this and agreeing, that's awesome. And then it got to 10, and I was like, alright, that's cool. And then the notifications started popping up a little more, 20, 30. I was like, okay, this is my most retweeted tweet, this is awesome. And then like 8 notifications like every minute, which is crazy for me. I know there's a lot of people that are used to that kind of stuff. I wasn't, and I'm not still. So, you know, and I saw this thing get up to 50 retweets, and I was starting to like, you know, I was on the PS4 with my friends. I'm like, guys, look at this tweet, like this is going crazy. The thing is, I knew at that point that Rain probably saw it, you know, because 50 retweets on something like that, Rain probably noticed. Hopefully it'll be like a wake-up call. Anyway, so there's a lot of people that start seeing this now. It's going up to 100 retweets, 200, I think it got to 250. Saturday night, I was at work, I had a 5-hour shift, and then I told myself I would not, you know, look at my phone the whole time. I was just gonna sit there. And at the end, I would see how many notifications I had. That's how pathetic I am, okay? So I did not look at the phone at all, and even to check the time, I was not going to see that phone. I was going to keep it a total surprise. At the end of the 5-hour shift, this is at like 9 at night, I look down at my phone and I see tons of notifications. That was so crazy. It was like something big just happened. And then I start scrolling down, dude, you're on Scarce News, dude, you're on Scarce. No way! Like, I'm still excited when I say it, because that is awesome. Looked at the video and there it was. He read my whole comment in the voice of Scarce. I look at my, you know, DM notifications. I usually have just 3. And then, you know, I look down and, you know, I see the usual 3 chats. I look down and there's this DM from this person, Norden's chat, and it's at FaZe_raining. That's when I looked down at what he was telling me, and I was like, oh my god, this guy does not really like me too much. He wasn't cursing me out. I don't want to say too much about what happened in the DMs, because afterwards I was like, is there any way, you know, I think I can screenshot some of this? And
no, this conversation is private.
But I feel like I need to tell you guys a gist of what happened. Initially, you know, Rain was telling me about how, you know, I don't really know what's going on behind the scenes of FaZe, and that I totally understand that. Like, obviously I don't, I'm not in FaZe, right? But I'm just speaking as a viewer, as a fan. I was just sitting there like, alright, I understand that, but here's how I think you could fix this whole lack of montage problem, you know? Recruit some players from Red, why not? You know, just try it. It's been 10 months since you recruited another player, just I mean, do it for the sake of the community. Like, people want to see uploads on FaZe again, and why not? Here's the thing that I'm worried about saying, but I'm just going to say it anyway. He was basically saying that the reason why they don't really want to pick up any clip-based players, and here's the important part for you guys in red. I don't know how many of you guys are watching, but hopefully, you know, I won't get in trouble from Rain for saying this, but basically he said that the reason why they don't want to pick up too many clip-based players anymore is because they just end up leaving anyway. Like, what? That's your reason? I don't know. That was just ridiculous. Zimesy just left, you know, but what? Like, why not just pick up some more? I don't understand. You know, hopefully, Rain, I'm sorry for saying that, dude, but I feel like somebody has to know other than me. I mean, come on, dude. That's what he said. I can't believe it. I respect them for trying something new. That's awesome. But there's obviously some work that needs to be done to the roster, so I don't know. So anyway, I was like, alright, Rain, you obviously have a little bit of explaining to do for the community, you know, why not talk about this on Scared? I feel like that would be the perfect place to talk about this and see what everyone else thinks. I mean, he just basically said, you know, I don't have any explaining to do, you know, it's, you know, whatever. And I was like, alright, fair enough. He probably told Scares not to talk to me anyway. Yeah, I think at this point, especially after this commentary, I feel like I'm blacklisted from FaZe. I haven't been blocked by Rain on Twitter, but probably after this, who knows. But I think he's a pretty rational guy overall. You know, he's done so much. I just want to leave this commentary by telling you guys that I'm still a fan of Rain and FaZe and all that. I just feel like what they're doing right now isn't what they're capable of. There you have it. That's pretty much went down in the DMs. There's obviously a couple other stuff that were said that I don't want to give away for the sake of, you know, keeping this whole FaZe 2.0 stuff a secret. And yeah, okay, see you guys later. Bye.